What guidance would you have? Because do you sense that it can almost dim down my problem solving ability? That could be the one sort of devil's advocate view. And the second question is that what have you seen in your career with all the firms and the leaders that you talk around the world, that is this like a muscle that manager builds over time, right? In other words, people who become good at problem solving, is it not about mastering one or two frameworks, right? What is it that they do that over a period of time, like we always normally say that engineers are very good with problem solving because it's the very nature of what they have to do. Um, but if you think about, someone from, let's say, a liberal arts background or a creative background, right? I mean, they see problems in a different way too. So, and just an advice, or just your observation, because a lot of our viewers and the Gen Z generation has so much more choice of their careers, right? And so, curious to know, when you think about something like an AI, what would you say to keep that in mind as you think about problem solving, versus also how do you see good managers, strengthening their problem solving ability over time?
Yeah, so two good questions. So first of all, let's full disclosure, not an expert on AI. Um, and I think the most of us in our daily existence aren't super engaged with generative AI, right? We're just kind of out there, using ChatGPT in our normal existence. But so the downside to using AI is that it's going to go out there in the world and collect everything, kind of average it and present it back to you. So that's the downside. The upside is it's going to go out there in the world and grab everything that's out there. So the, it might include something. So there's nothing wrong with if you're in your decompose phase. There's nothing wrong with asking, whatever your AI system is, what might be the cause of this problem, because it it might it might trigger one or two ideas that you wouldn't have thought of, right? Any idea that's thrown your way can be rejected out of hand, right? It's not going to cost you any time. So I think it's actually a pretty good idea to just ask that question, because they might remind you of a basic that you had overlooked, or it might be insane, but it jogs your brain to being more open. So I think it's worth doing. Um, just don't lose too much time to it, right? I think like anything, it's an input. Now, who knows where the future will take us? This might be totally different just 5 years from now. Um, but then how to build the skill? It really is it's as simple as practice. And the world, at least in my experience, the world will not encourage you to build a structured way to make decisions. The world will tell you to hurry up and make decisions and move on. Solve the problem, fix it as quickly as possible. And that's what they want. So I think no one is encouraging us to build skills. I think people who have a good instinct, right? That's always the phrase. They have good instincts. They can really solve problems very quickly. Um, that's You're going to run into problems there. So I really do recommend that you practice so you get better at this, right? Because some people don't have that instinct, right? Sometimes you need to do analysis, like maybe even math. Um, People who come from liberal arts, which you brought up, you, that's another way of pointing at a different kind of brain. They have a real advantage because they've been taught to think more broad. Gross stereotype, forgive me, but they've actually been trained to think more broadly. So instead of looking at the process steps, they might be the one to say, maybe it's something about the employees, right? Maybe it's about how the employees are interacting, or maybe it's because the environment is wrong. Like they just might have a totally different view. Um, that's real, right? I mean, we're pretty efficient in our business practices now. It's not as simple, we're coming out of a phase where optimizing processes was all we had to do. It's not that simple anymore. We really do have to think about the process, the inputs, the supply chain. the environment, the physical environment, the macro environment. We have to think about a whole lot more, and it'll serve us well as individuals to both work with others and practice a process so that we remember to think of all these different perspectives, and then we can be the fresh point of view in the room. But I'm sorry to say I don't think the world is going to encourage you to grow this skill. They want you to have it. They want you to be able to solve problems, and they want you to be able to solve problems quickly. But it's a rare manager who's going to sit down with you and say, "How should we look at this problem?" Right? It's a rare manager who's going to say, "Did you consider the problem statement?" So I'm sorry about that answer, but I think the one advantage, another advantage that the Gen Zers have is they know that they're in charge of their own career. They're not waiting, they're not expecting a company to grow them and give them their career. So as long as you're responsible for building your own skills and building your own resume, right? Then you have to grow. You have to grow these capabilities. You have to read about problem solving. You have to read about these skills and grow them yourselves and find the people that can help you. I mean, supervisors uh they aren't evil by any stretch. So you find the people who can help you grow, who do want to help you build those skills.
Yeah.
But it's a rare manager out there who's got the time, but you owe it to yourself to